Hi there. Jen had inquired about separation anxiety, so I will talk a little bit about separation anxiety today. And there are some ways you can tell if maybe you may have separation anxiety. Now, typically we think that it is in something that is only with children, but you can actually have separation anxiety as an adult as well. And sometimes you might not even have it until you're an adult. And so we'll talk about those things. So the one that we're probably most familiar with is separation anxiety when talking about, children, toddlers. And they typically, outgrow that separation anxiety or stranger anxiety, as you may know it, between the ages of 2 and 3. And all that is normal development, right? Like that's just normal. If you've had a child, you've probably experienced that, where they only want you as the parent or the guardian. It's hard for them to go with other people, even if they know them. They still would prefer to be with the parent, and that's normal. So like we say, that typically is outgrown probably by the age of 3, and that's perfectly normal. So that's nothing to be concerned about. What happens is when these things start to interfere with your daily activities, your daily life, your daily functioning, and you're really not able to cope because of these things, that is when it becomes, a problem and a struggle, as you may know. So, as for instance, adults can have separation anxiety perhaps after a death, after a divorce, after a failed relationship. They might experience some of this separation anxiety. Again, all those things are normal, but it's when it gets to a point where it's really hard for you just to function, that's when you may want to seek some assistance. Some things about the separation anxiety, it's a fear of abandonment. So it's like a lack of secure attachment. So for some people, they may be very stressed when they have to leave the home, because they feel very comfortable in their home and very safe in their home with maybe their spouse and their kids. So that's a red flag, that they feel that it's very, very stressful for them to leave the house. It may be very hard for them to go to school, go to work, even go to the grocery store, because they don't like to be alone. They may not even go places unless someone's with them, and again, because they're afraid to be alone. They are afraid that something is going to happen to either someone they love, which is that secure attachment, or themselves, because they don't want to be the one removed from someone that they love. So it's that fear of being gone, whether it's willfully or not. So willfully meaning that maybe parents get divorced and one of the parents leaves the home. That's willful. Not willful is if someone passes away. They perhaps didn't plan to do that, but children see that as abandonment. So those are things that children internalize differently. They don't have the capacity to really process all that out. So being an adult with the separation anxiety may have stemmed from something in childhood, but doesn't always have to. Let's see. Other things, like you may not want to sleep away from home. You may not go to bed until your spouse comes to bed because you don't feel safe or comfortable, closing your eyes and falling asleep. You may have nightmares that involve death and dying, or even just the separation. Like, for example, you may dream that you bought tickets to go see a Suns game or something, and then you get there and the seats aren't together and you're freaking out because you really feel like you can't be separated, not even a row different from someone that you love and have that secure attachment with. So also you can experience physical symptoms like headaches, stomach aches, nausea. It will manifest in your body somewhere as well. And then a little deeper, you may notice that you like to be either in control or have somebody else, like your partner, kind of controlling you, just because you feel safer that way. You don't like surprises. You like to know what to expect. So there's that level of that you want that control. What else? You may have a lot of need for praise, not in a bad way, right? We all like that, but maybe almost constant, because you're seeking that approval that this person you love is not going to leave you. So you're always seeking, like, you're the one for me. I would never leave you. I love you, all those things. So, and it's a little more than the norm. You may find yourself feeling insecure for no reason or no obvious reason. Again, that's because, we don't always remember everything that we've gone through throughout our lives, so it may be difficult to really pinpoint why at the time or in that moment, but you will randomly feel insecure, and you're just like, why am I feeling this way right now? It could be because of separation anxiety. Also, if you know, like say, a parent did pass away when you were a child, and maybe you do know where that stems from, then you're now hypervigilant. We talk about that when we talk about trauma too. So our brains remember when something traumatic has happened to us. So now we're hypervigilant to that same feeling, the same situations when they come up. So anything that reminds our brain remotely of that situation that happened to us, our brains kind of kick up into that fight or flight again. So that's another sign, I'd say. Sometimes we'll go into what we call a cognitive distortion of mind reading, and that is, again, you're playing out in your head what this other person is thinking, like, oh my gosh, they say they're going to the store, but maybe today's the day they plan on leaving me. And it's kind of far-fetched, but that's kind of how our brains are. We automatically assume the worst or the negative side of things, and so that's called mind reading, where you're just assuming that you know what someone else is thinking. And then oftentimes people will stay in unhealthy relationships because they don't want to be alone. So they'd rather be in a relationship, healthy or unhealthy, rather than none at all, and to be alone, because they really need that attachment, right? That secure attachment that they're seeking. So anyways, that's just a little bit about that, and maybe I can talk more as to things to help with that in another video, but that's just a little bit about separation anxiety. If you have any questions, please comment below, and I will happily get back with you.